Before the night I died, I never thought much about where my life was headed. Not until he came along.
Maya, wake up. Wake up, Maya.
It all started the morning of my mom's will reading.
Let's get on with it. I want to hear my sister's will.
And Julia, you didn't even visit my mom when she was sick. Why would she leave you anything?
How dare you speak to me like that?
Please don't.
You don't have to protect me.
I just don't want this to rule the will reading.
Well, he didn't technically just come along. We sort of grew up together.
And who the hell is this? You remember Peter. He's the son of an old friend. We sponsored his education, and he's done amazing things with it. Unlike my daughter.
Now that everyone's here, we can begin. Since Mr. Koshla has his own wealth, the remainder of Mrs. Koshla's estate will be divided between Maya Koshla and Peter Reed. If they live together in Mrs. Koshla mansion for 1 week.
What? And I get nothing? These two, they must have plotted together against me.
Oh, come on. I would never help him.
I have nothing to do with this. Wait, is this even legal?
I assure you it is. You're welcome to decline.
Oh, hold on. Wait, so I have to live with him for a week or I lose my inheritance? How about 3 days? That's doable.
Sir, I cannot live with her. She's a just spoiled potty girl.
Oh, come on. I'm just a normal person who likes to have fun, unlike you.
Sir, I have a reputation to consider.
Pathetic. You care way too much about what people think.
Or maybe you should care more about what people think.
Peter's right. You're an embarrassment.
I should mention that if you decline this agreement or break the terms, the entire fortune will be given to your Aunt Julia and Uncle Alex.
And how much is that fortune exactly?
Approximately $500 million.
Fine.
We'll do it.
Excellent. These are GPS trackers.
What?
They will alert me when you are not home by midnight to sleep here.
Okay, this is insane. Why would my mom do that to me?
What are we gonna... If I don't repay my debt to the mob, they'll kill me.
Calm down. Maya and Peter clearly hate each other. If they don't screw it up themselves, we'll screw it up for them. Whatever it takes.
And that's how I ended up living with my nemesis. A golden boy who could do no wrong.
So, what do you think?
I think that you're just a leech who loves flaunting his success just to piss me off.
Please, I'm not flaunting anything. If you did something to your life,
Oh, God, great. Here comes another lecture.
I don't have time for that. What I actually meant is, how is this actually going to work?
Simple. It's a big house. I take my old room, you pick the guest room. With luck, we don't read the same air.
Works for me.
Perfect. I've always known that Peter was the child my father wished he'd had. I thought my mom was different. Why did you make your will like that, Mom? Are you trying to punish me? I don't get it. I wish I could talk to you at least one more time. I miss you so much. No, I'll drive myself crazy thinking about her. I need a distraction.
The hell?
Hey, Rumi!
What the hell is this?
Woo!
Get these people out of here. I'm trying to work.
Calm down and have some fun. You're so uptight.
Now your outfit. Where'd you get it? A charity bin?
Is that from the Coastless Wine Collection? That's a $10,000 bottle.
Now it's $0.
Quite the friends you have in here, Maya.
They're just having fun. You should try it too sometime.
Some of us have to work for a living, but of course you wouldn't know how that like.
Listen, I just need one night. Woo! Hey, put me down. Peter, put me down right now. Listen, I'm sorry, okay, that you have to work and stuff, but can you, chill for a night?
No, I cannot, chill for a night. I have a grand proposal due that will fund my non-profit for a year.
Yeah, well then find some soundproof headphones.
Seriously? Why are you even having a party? Your mom just died a week ago. Are you really that shallow?
Are you really this jealous? You always wanted to be a Koshla, but you're just my parents' pet charity case. What are you doing?
I'm shutting this down.
No, you're not. No.
Are you crazy?
Get out of
Get off me!
Get out of the party!
You crazy?
Get out of the party now!
Literally, what's happening?
They about to fight? Oh fuck.
Screw that guy. He always wants to ruin whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, let him know.
Turn up the music! Let's fucking dance! I just wanted to drown it out. I know how people see me, but this is the only way I know to drown out the pain.
Oh my gosh, she's such a mess tonight. You're so fucking sexy.
Get off me!
Bitch.
I don't know if I was too drunk to stay awake or I just didn't want to.
That's it. Shut it. If you're not out of here in 2 minutes, I'll throw you out. Hey, you two.
Damn, khaki pants. I had you all wrong.
Where's Maya?
How should we know? She was in a bad mood all night for some reason.
Probably because her mom just died.
What a buzzkill.
Stay away from her. I don't want you to see her around anymore. Maya, Maya. Maya. Maya, Maya, wake up. Wake up, Maya.
So cold.
Maya, Maya, Maya. Maya, 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 Maya. Come on, come on. Maya, Maya, Maya. There you go. Yes, yes. Stay with me.
What happened?
I found you in the pool unconscious. Did you try to hurt yourself?
What? No. No. I drank too much and then I passed out. You saved me? Why? Peter,
Yeah.
I have to puke.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. Feeling better?
Yeah, much better.
We should get you to a doctor, make sure you're okay.
Really, I'm fine.
Listen, I don't want you to hang out with these so-called friends of yours anymore.
Well, that's not up to you.
Maya, they are bad influence.
Peter, I'm not a child. You can't... Okay, we can discuss that another time, okay? What I really wanted to say was... Thank you for saving me.
No big deal. I would have done it for anyone.
Okay.
But you shouldn't drink that much.
I've been kind of upset lately.
Maya, be careful.
Calm down, Peter. I didn't see anything.
Wait. Could Peter be attracted to me?
Hey, Peter.
What? Maya, what the fuck are you doing?
Returning your towel. Nighty night.
Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it.
So if Peter wants me, then maybe he's not the perfect golden boy my father thinks he is. One way to find out. Peter. What you reading?
Why do you care?
Just curious.
If you're gonna sit like that, you're gonna get scoliosis.
Oh, Peter, you're so funny.
Are you high?
What?
I mean, you're acting weird. Were you drinking?
It's 10 a.m.
I'm sure that hasn't stopped you before.
Peter, you're so...
What?
Nothing. Peter, you must be really sore from rescuing me last night. I could give you a shoulder massage. Wow, he really is quite muscular.
She's massaging him.
Oh my God. Ivan keeps texting me. He says I have to pay him back by next week or say goodbye to my kneecaps.
Would you keep it down? I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I being too loud about the mob threatening to rearrange my face? Oh,
You should have thought about that before betting our money on crypto.
sorry.
I thought these two couldn't stand each other. But if they're getting close, that changes things.
How? Isn't the whole point? They have to live together for the week?
Exactly. If Boris finds out they're turning this into some kind of romantic getaway, he'll blow a gasket. Boris already thinks Maya's irresponsible. But he suspects she's hooking up with this charity case he brought in. He might shut the whole thing down out of embarrassment.
You think you'd kill the deal over that?
All it takes is a little push, stir up the right suspicion, and Boris will do what Boris always does. Take control.
And if the deal is off?
The inheritance defaults to the next eligible relative. Us.
Yes! Go.
Hello? Is Boris Koshla available? Is his sister-in-law calling?
Yeah, actually, I'm not sore at all.
Sure. Oops. This table is so messed up.
Jesus, Maya!
I just tripped. I can be so clumsy.
Never thought of you as clumsy.
Oh. So you think of me?
Could you get off my lap?
That's what you really want.
I wonder if hypothermia can cause behavioral changes.
Excuse me?
You're acting weird. Oh, I get it. I see what's going on. You feel guilty because you were so mean to me and then I saved your life.
Yep. That's it.
But don't worry, it wasn't about you. I would have done it for anyone.
Great. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Now, if you don't mind,
Of course, yeah. I will leave you two alone. I don't get it. That would have worked with every guy I've ever dated. I guess Peter isn't attracted to me. At least my old pottery wheel is here. Oh God. Am I attracted to Peter Reed? Oh God. Am I attracted to Peter Reed? No, that's crazy. Just concentrate, Maya. What are you doing?
Nothing?
I'm busy.
Yeah, I can see that. Can I come in?
If you want to.
You make all of this?
No. I stole them. Of course you did them.
Those are beautiful. I didn't know you were an artist.
Well, I'm not an artist. You know, artists are... This is just what I'm doing.
You look like an artist to me. It must have taken a lot of time to get this good.
Thanks. It did.
If you applied like this in school, you would definitely have gotten into college.
Oh, I doubt that. I can barely read.
What a nonsense. Of course you can read.
No, I can't. I'm dyslexic. Hey! Careful!
Wait, what? Did your parents know that?
Yeah. My mom understood, but...
But your dad.
Yeah. He was thinking that I was making excuses for myself and... Like, Maya, you have to try harder. You will never amount to anything if you can read. Yeah. Well, I guess he was right about that part.
I didn't realize.
That's okay. I'm used to people thinking that I'm stupid. Maybe I am.
But you're not.
Yeah, especially you coming over and bragging about your perfect grades and being accepted to Harvard.
I wasn't bragging. I just wanted your parents to know that their money was in a good use.
Mm-hmm. Unlike me.
It's not what I meant. I'm sorry. I can see the way it came off that way.
I've been so wrong about her for all this time.
You know what? Maybe you should go to art school.
Well, my dad refuses to pay for it.
Why not?
He says that artist isn't a real job and it's... And I'm not a worthwhile investment.
Oh, yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around this. Why didn't you tell me that's the reason why we're struggling at school?
Why didn't you ask?
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. I'm not good at all of this. Listen, but you are very talented and you are creative and all of this.
You're patronizing me.
No, I'm not. I mean, the only class I failed in school was an art class.
Well, maybe you just didn't have the right teacher.
I don't think that's the reason.
Well, you know what? No excuses right now. Let's go.
What?
Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's try this.
For what? For...
Yes. Go, 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 go.
Are you sure?
Oh, I am.
But remind me, why am I doing this?
Okay. Hey, relax. Yeah, it's better. Now, start the wheel with your foot. And wrap your hands around the clay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? Wait. Okay.
See, I told you I'm not good for this.
Yeah. Let me show you. You have to be firm.
Like this?
Don't wanna get closer. If you're playing with my mind, it ain't fair. Don't wanna spend my energy. Give my attention if yours ain't there.
Julia! Damn woman calls me out here for a meeting and doesn't even show. Hello? Anybody home?
See, I told you I'm bad at this.
You've been doing it for like 2 seconds. You're just used to being good at everything straight away.
Well, not at everything, obviously.
Yes, you are. You're Peter Reed, the golden boy.
Stop it.
You're 100% completely perfect.
What the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here?
Dad, I was just...
You were just corrupting a good man. It's the only thing you're good at.
No, she wasn't. I just...
You're a terrible influence, Mike. Peter has the bright future ahead of him. He doesn't need you messing it up for him.
Boris, sir, it's not like this. That's not her fault. I just came here to watch her pottery and...
It's okay, Peter. I'm not angry with you.
But...
You're not the guilty party here. That would be my lovely daughter. Ah! Now, can I assume that any funny business is over with Maya? Or should I put an end to this inheritance arrangement? Well, Maya, can I trust you for once? Just for once.
Yes.
Yes.
You can trust me. Sir.
Good. I need to get back to work. I wasted enough time today.
Maya,
Go away.
No. I realize...
I don't need your pity.
You don't understand. I cannot mess this up.
Yes, I understand. Okay? I understand you want your money and you want to get out of this house, and this is exactly what I want. So go!
And what are you going to do?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll be fine without you. Let my father call it off. Let Peter have all the money if that's what he wants. Maybe I don't deserve it anyway. Perfect.
Thank you so much. missed you, bitch.
Hey. Where is the waiter? We need another bottle.
What's it like living with that Peter guy?
I hate to admit this, but he's actually really hot.
Yeah, I just want to have angry sex with him. Has he asked about me?
Peter? Oh, trust me, you don't want him. He's like the worst.
Wait, is something going on between you two?
No. I would not even think about it. No. Why are we even talking about him, huh? Oh. Those guys are cute. Why don't we spice things up a little?
Yeah.
Excuse me? Hey, guys. Why don't you guys join us?
I have to say, you are gorgeous. You must be a model.
I'm not a model or anything, but I just want to have fun. Would that be a problem?
Definitely not.
And one shot for...
Maya's going to go down tonight. This is just the opportunity we need.
I can't get this fucking bartender to even look at me.
Would you focus? We're not here to drink, and I told you not to wear that ugly shirt.
Hey! I got this on TikTok!
We just need the right guy. Hey. You're interesting in making some money tonight. We've got a little proposition for you.
You two, pass.
What is she talking about?
We don't more than threesome with you. What do you think of that, Karen? We just need you to give her this.
Now that, I like. And then what?
As long as she doesn't make it home tonight, I don't care.
Good. I like to take my time.
Where the hell is she? If she's not home by midnight, we'll lose the inheritance.
What the fuck, dude? Fuck off. Okay. Go!
Hey, where it is?
Forget about him. Let's go get you another drink, huh?
Okay.
Cheers to new friends.
Cheers. I need to use the restroom.
Hey, don't be rude. I just brought you this drink. What, are you gonna ditch me?
Not being rude, I just need to pee.
Just a few more sips, right?
If I take a few more sips, will you let go of my arm?
Of course, baby.
What the hell?
Just trying to make sure that you're getting it all in, that's it.
Fuck off, you creep. What? What is happening?
Okay.
Got you, baby.
No.
Let's go find someplace quieter.
No. No.
What do you think he's gonna do to her?
Please, don't be naive.
She's a niece.
I'm sorry, would you rather we don't get the money and the mob beats you to death? That's what I thought.
And like that. Oh, and there we go. Right there.
No. Let me go.
You filthy bitch! Get your fucking hand.
Maya. You okay?
It's almost midnight. Gotta get you home.
Fuck! Don't let him see us. Don't let him see us. Let's change our glasses. Give me yours. Give me yours. Yeah.
8 minutes.
Try to hold on.
Warning. 10 seconds remain.
I know!
10.
Shut up!
9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Made it in time.
These goes.
Maya.
What the fuck?
Hey.
Hey? What is going on? Why I'm in your bed?
You don't remember, do you?
No. I was at the club.
Mm-hmm. And then this guy must have spiked your drink. But we made it home just in time. Don't worry.
Okay. But did we...
What? Have sex?
Yeah.
No. You were completely out of it. You even took off your own dress, even though I tried to stop you. And then I just put you in my bed just to make sure that you kept breathing.
Okay. Wait. I actually start to remember. I felt like I didn't have control over my lips anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and there was a guy in a hallway. And then you came. You kicked the shit out of him.
I mean, he was a prick, so...
Well, I didn't know you had it in you.
I got picked on a lot for being poor kid in a school. So I have to learn how to fight back.
Well, I didn't realize. He is not at all the kind of person I thought he was. Peter,
Yes.
why'd you come after me?
I had to get you home before midnight. That's all.
Peter, I think I expecting someone?
No. You?
No.
Faith?
Peter, it's so good to see you.
What are you doing here?
Well, I have a conference in town, so I thought I'd surprise you.
Hi. I'm Maya.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maya. Faith, Maya. Me and Faith, we were dating at Harvard.
Dating? We were practically engaged.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then you broke up with me.
I've got a very prestigious fellowship. I'm a pediatric surgeon. But it's funny how priorities can change. Oh, sorry. How rude of me. Maya, where did you go to college?
I actually didn't.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I'll let you two reconnect. Would you like to drink something? Coffee? Water?
Oh, what a cute little hostess you are. Sparkling water, please.
Sure. You, Peter? Okay.
Maya, you don't have to.
Peter, I have to be honest with you. I don't have a conference here. I came here because I'm still in love with you.
Faith.
Tell me you don't think about me and I leave.
When we first met, I was just this poor kid, and I was looking for someone like you. Smart, sophisticated, beautiful. And I thought I would never recover after we broke up.
Oh, Peter.
What was I thinking? Peter would never want someone like me if he could have someone like her.
Hey, Maya. Take a glass. It's bottomless mimosas.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm not drinking.
Ooh, don't be boring.
I'm not being boring. Listen, I just had a really rough time last night. So this guy drugged me, and then
They put asparagus in my omelet. I hate asparagus.
I'm not tipping this waiter. Waving is here.
Here's the glass.
he just said I'm not drink. Weren't you even listening to me?
You've been such a downer.
Maya, here's the non-alcoholic menu. Which one do you want?
Any of them is fine.
Actually, read them out to me. I want one too.
Yeah, the same. Me too. Just read them out, Maya.
You can start right here at the top. Sound it out.
I actually don't want anything.
Maya, I'm trying to help you. You need some practice. What's the first word?
This isn't funny.
You're right, it's not. It's pathetic. You're lucky you're pretty because There is nothing going on up here. It's top.
Okay, just read the first one, Maya. I believe in you.
Truly?
It says. It says.
When we first met, I was just this poor kid, and I was looking for someone like you. Smart, sophisticated, beautiful. And I thought I would never recover after we broke up.
Oh, Peter.
Wait, you didn't let me finish. I thought I would never recover after we broke up, but eventually I did.
What?
Yeah. I just don't feel the same way about you anymore.
You can't be serious. I'm a doctor. Plus, look at me.
I'm looking.
Is this because of that stupid girl who answered the door? She never even brought me my water.
It has nothing to do with Maya.
Oh, bullshit. I saw the way you looked at her.
No, I didn't.
You know what? Enough. I'm not gonna stick around and be treated like this.
Hello. The first drink is all your friends are giant assholes. There is another one. You don't deserve to breathe the same air as Maya. I know it's too long, but it sounds tasty, right?
Fuck you, dick! Hey!
It's okay. Don't worry.
Can we talk private?
Sure.
Here, got some mimosa in your face. I thought you'd be with Faith. Wait, by the way, how did you even find me?
Oh, that blonde friend of yours, she's constantly posting on TikTok, so it was easy to track.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call her friend anymore.
Good. Because I meant what I said. They don't deserve you.
Peter, is that what you came here to say?
No, that's not what I came here, but the reason I came is
Yes?
over the past few days.
Peter! There you are.
What are you doing here?
It's an emergency. There's no time to explain. Let's go.
Where are you taking?
Wait, what the hell is going on? We can take this.
It's not safe in here.
Basement? Really?
Okay.
Quick.
Well, what's going on? I can't see anything.
Let me explain. It's your aunt and uncle.
Oh no. Did they threaten you?
I'm working with them, stupid. See?
What? You handcuffed us?
You're insane.
I'm not insane. I just want to be rich.
But you're already a surgeon.
Yes, and as a surgeon, I could make millions, but I want tens of millions. I want yacht money. And that's exactly what your aunt and uncle offered me.
You're kidnapping us for yacht money?
I'm not sure it's kidnapping. Technically, I'm just holding you here until it's past midnight.
I'm pretty sure that's a kidnapping.
Yeah.
There is no phone service down here. I love it when things just work out. I would never let you go. See, I wasn't lying earlier. I really am still in love with you. I mean, look at you. And you're still the best I've ever had.
Don't touch me.
Still tasty. I remember that. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking letting it go. It's her. Admit it. I mean, she's attractive, yes, but she didn't even go to college. She could have afforded it, obviously. So she must be really stupid.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is her. And what about you? You really think you're enough for him? He's brilliant, you know? So I have no idea why he running some charity. He could be doing anything. Understand? So, poor little rich girl. Do you like him? Are you in love? At least I'm not a coward like you two.
Faith, wait. Don't do this.
Only 10 more hours to go. You'll have plenty of time to chat. Oh, and hey, I'm so sorry you're gonna miss out on $500 million. Maybe I will let you work on my yacht. If you beg me enough.
No, wait, please. Help! Someone! Help!
Maya, I think that's no use. I think no one comes down here. Look how dusty it is.
I just hate to think that Faith and my horrible aunt and uncle are going to beat us.
You know what? That night I got you in the club. I think I saw them at the bar, and probably they bribed that guy to drug you.
Those fucking creeps. They have the worst. I'm really exhausted from standing for so long. Do you think I'll get bitten by rats if I sit down?
I'll fight them off.
Why do you think my mom did it? The whole living together for inheritance thing.
Maybe she was tired of us arguing every time we saw each other.
I don't think living together makes people argue less.
That's true.
She was the one person who truly saw me. Or at least I thought she did.
I see you, Maya. Did you hear that?
What?
Stand up.
Okay.
pipe is a little loose. Maybe I can dislodge it from the wall and we can slide the handcuffs out.
Okay, yeah, try it.
I hope there is no hot water there.
The sewage.
Good point.
Let me help. We can pull back against the handcuffs.
I don't want you to get hurt.
It's okay. I can handle it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it.
Let's get out of here.
Yes.
It's 10:57. We have plenty of time.
No. Fuck.
What the?
She slashed your tires.
Okay, we're gonna take your car.
Yeah, I Ubered here. Shit. Let's go.
What? Where?
We're making it back to the house by midnight, even if we have to run, which we do. Come on.
Just a little bit further.
Are you just saying that to make me feel better?
No. There's the house.
Warning, 10 seconds remaining. 10, 9, 8,
What is that?
6,
GPS tracker.
5,
Run!
3.
I can't believe we made it.
You're in a great shape.
Dancing in the hills. So, what are we gonna do about all this? Because honestly, I could use a shower. Yeah, and no offense, but you could do too.
Yeah. I don't wanna walk around like this the rest of the week. I won't look if you won't.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take my clothes off now.
I can't take my shirt off without scuffed together.
Peter, could you maybe rip it off?
What?
I mean, it's ruined anyway.
Okay. I got it. Are you ready? Sorry?
It's red.
Almost there? Yeah. Okay, my turn.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna start the shower now.
Sure.
The soap is over.
I didn't mean...
Walking through a world without you, 'cause I need your love.
You should be more like Peter Mile. He always works for what he's got.
You really think you're enough for him?
You stupid bitch.
You're lucky you're pretty, because there's nothing going on up here.
You're a terrible influence, Maya. Peter has the bright future ahead of him. He doesn't need you messing it up for him.
Wait.
What's wrong?
I want Peter so much, but I'd just drag him down. He's better off without me. It's better if we don't complicate things.
What do you mean?
I mean, we only have a few days left, and it would be just simpler and cleaner if nothing happens between us.
Are you sure? Is that what you really want?
Yeah. I'm sure.
Okay. Okay then. I guess we better shut our eyes again.
You know I got bad habits and they keep me out all night.
I have the covers up.
Same.
What will you do with the money? If we make it through the next few days, I mean.
You know, non-profit I run for underprivileged kids.
Yeah, you found their education just like my parents did for you.
Yeah. Well, with that kind of money, I will be able to help a lot more kids. And I won't have to beg rich people for their donations anymore.
You don't like having to be dependent on people.
And what you gonna do with your money? Art school?
I wouldn't have to be dependent on my father.
Freedom. I feel like I should be a lot more excited about that, but can we just...
I'm really tired.
Just talk to me, Maya. Please.
It's really late. I should get some sleep. Good night, Peter.
Good night, Maya.
Mr. Melnick, your mom's lawyer, says that he can't do anything about your aunt and uncle trying to sabotage us if we don't have enough proof.
I doubt Faith is gonna talk.
And more good news. The locksmith can't get here until tomorrow. So we're stuck like this for a little bit longer. So now what?
I guess we just run out the clock.
Yeah.
Wanna pose for me? Hey, stop moving.
It's hard. One of my arms is attached to you.
Oh, that's right. I barely noticed that anymore.
I think you're being too generous with my glutes.
You know, that's actually how it looks like. I guess somebody doesn't skip leg day.
Are you checking me out?
I mean, you know you're good looking.
So you're saying problem isn't my looks?
No.
Is it the way I kiss?
Definitely not.
Then what is? I can't fall in love with you.
No.
What?
Peter can't fall in love with me. He's meant for better things. No, Peter, You're not falling in love with me.
I know how I feel, Maya.
You don't even know me.
I do know you. I know the real you.
Well, I don't feel the same about you.
Bullshit.
It's true.
You're lying. Why?
You don't know everything.
I know you want me. And I know that you're doing everything to push me away. I just don't know why.
Maybe because you're a cocky prick I always thought you were.
No, you gotta do better than that.
Why do you even want me, Peter? I'm just a dumb, spoiled heiress.
But you're not. Is that what you worry about? You think you're not good enough for me?
No. No, that's not what I meant.
Maya, that's crazy. You're an amazing person. Now I understand how awful your father was. And I'm sorry.
Got it.
Can you just stop and listen to me? What are you doing?
Well, I met some shady characters in my day, and one of them taught me how to pick locks. It's been a while, but here we go.
Congratulations. Now, will you listen to me?
Sorry, Peter, but you make this whole thing into something that is not. Let's just finish out this weekend and go our separate ways.
Don't push me away like that.
Close the door behind you.
Fine. Have it your way.
Everything gets lost in the dark. Easy to forget who we are.
Mom? Hey, hon.
That's the way his dad broke the other day.
Yeah, I know. He can be a hard man to love, Maya. I wish I did a better job of sticking up for you.
Don't worry about it. It's too broken to fix.
You know, I went with your father on a business trip to Japan once. And they have something called kintsugi there. The practice of mending cracks in pottery with gold. The cracks don't ruin the pottery. They make it more beautiful.
My cracks are a little more serious.
Let Peter into your heart, Maya. You are not too broken to be loved.
Mom, why did you write your will this way? Why stick Peter and I together?
I'm sorry, love. I have to go.
Mom, no. Please. Stay with me. Mom. 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 I need some fresh air.
It's okay to cry as long as you let him go. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know.
Am I making a mistake? I mean, Peter's the best guy I've ever met. Maybe I could be good enough for him. Maybe. Maybe I'm not good enough for him yet. But the more time we spend together, the better I'll get. I mean, we could turn into a month into a year, and a year into who knows. I do love Peter. And I have to try to let him love me. Maybe then my cracks will turn into gold. Let's go!
Don't think he can hear you. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
Maya, can we talk? Well, she definitely slept here. Hey Maya, just leaving you another message. I'm getting worried. It's already afternoon and I haven't seen you the whole day. So call me back when you hear this or send a message. I'm getting worried. Just let me know that you're okay. Hey, Boris, it's Peter. Have you seen Maya?
No. Should I have?
She hasn't been home all day, so I thought maybe she went to see you.
She's probably just out drunk somewhere. She'll come home when she needs to pass out.
Well, it's getting late and...
Oh, of course. The midnight deadline for the inheritance.
No, it's not that. I think something bad has happened to her.
Trust me. She's out partying. It's just like her. Not thinking about how her actions affect other people. Selfish to the core.
She's not selfish. She's in pain.
Excuse me?
And it's because the way you treated her. Acting like she's stupid because she has a learning disability.
You, watch your tongue talking to me. Don't forget how much money I spent paying for your education.
And I'm grateful for that. But I just can't stand by and listen how you badmouth your own daughter anymore. She's a talented artist and an amazing person, and no thanks to you. You would be lucky to get to know her like I have.
Now, listen to me, you ungrateful bastard.
How dare you! Don't worry, Maya. I'll find you whatever you are.
Getting dark out there. Not too much longer. Stop struggling, will you? Alex, make sure those knots are tied.
Tight as I can make him.
Help! Someone! Shut up! Not like anyone can hear you out here anyway. We're in the middle of the woods. Watch. Help! Somebody help me! Anybody? See? Nothing.
Someone is coming. I promise you that.
You mean your new Ivy League boyfriend? How's he going to find you? We ditched your phone down as our drain.
He'll find a way.
Just like my sister. Naive, overly trusting, she was almost as stupid as you.
Don't you dare talk about my mother like that!
I'll talk about whatever the hell I want. Soon your little rich girl life will be over. And Alex and I will be traveling the world, wealthy as hell.
Oh, yeah. I'll have the mob on my back and we'll be free. Stay at the nicest resorts. Eat at the best restaurant.
You make me so horny when you talk like that.
Ew! You two are disgusting. Did it ever occur to you that my mom would left you plenty of money if you'd been just nice to her?
So I'm supposed to go around and beg my own family for money?
Your parents left you millions. What happened to that?
I have no idea how expensive things are.
Yeah, you ever heard of inflation?
Of course she hasn't. She's just stupid.
And yet you are the one who can think of a new insult.
Julia!
Oh, you fucking cunt. We were just going to wait until midnight and let you go. But now we're going to make you pay.
This wasn't the plan.
So what? Plans change.
You said there wouldn't be any bloodshed.
Stop being such a pussy. I'm doing this to save you from the mob.
How does hurting her save me?
Fine. You got me. I just want to punch her. Satisfied? You idiot!
What?
You said the knots were tight.
Yes! Look, I'm not a fucking knot expert, okay? I'm not a sailor.
Shut up and go after her! We can't let her get away. Maya! Where are you? I'm sorry I got mad. Just come back, and I promise we'll release you after midnight. Maya, come out, wherever you are.
Gotcha!
This time I do the ropes.
I know she hasn't been missing for long, but you're the police, so do something.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do.
Fuck! GPS tracker. Maybe I can use my GPS tracker to hack into hers. Come on.
What time is it?
Almost money time. In a few hours, when the clock strikes 12, we're $500 million richer.
Here's it, Maya. It's almost midnight, and no one came for you. Because nobody cares about you. They might want your money, but no one actually loves you.
You're wrong.
Oh, is it painful to hear? Don't worry, it won't hurt for long.
I knew you'd come.
Look out! Peter, no!
back up.
Okay, so you rescued her. How sweet.
Did you really have to do that? Did you have to kidnap me?
Come on, it wasn't that bad.
You were about to kill me.
I wouldn't have tried to kill you if you didn't try to escape.
Besides, you're too late.
You'll never make it back to the mansion in time. The money's ours. You just lost $500 million!
Are you okay?
Don't worry about me. Done it.
I don't think we're gonna make it.
Well, we have to try. I'm not letting those motherfuckers take our money.
Shit, you fire up. I like it.
Red race only one to run from. Suicide missions whenever I'm feeling. I'm built to growth with no ceiling. Sun shining on me, boy, I'm in different color.
I knew it'd find me.
Yeah, but it took me too much time. It's my fault we're gonna lose the money.
I see the gate.
Seconds remaining. 10, 9,
I hate that thing.
8,
Peter, I have to tell you something.
Now?
5,
I love you.
3, 2.
Really?
Do we make it?
I think that's a no.
Fuck. We were so close. What? Are you happy about this?
Did you just say that you love me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I might have said that, but there was a lot happening, and it's okay if it was too soon, okay? You don't have to say it back early. Yeah.
I love you too, Maya. Are you sure you're ready and you're not gonna push me away again?
I'm sure. I'm not going anywhere.
I know you're hurt, but I promise I'll be gentle.
I'm a lot tougher than you think.
In light of the fact that you did not abide by the term of the wills, all $500 million goes to Julie and Alex Haas.
Sorry.
Mr. Malnick, we were not home by midnight because they kidnapped me.
Is that true?
Of course not. How could you accuse me of such a thing? Maya, we're family.
Maya was probably out at some club and lost track of time because she was so drunk. We all know what she's like.
She wasn't out there drinking. She's telling the truth. And when I arrived, Julia was about to kill her.
No, I will not stand for this slander.
Everyone calm down. Do you have any proof of this alleged kidnapping?
You can try match my fist to that bruises on his face.
I'm inclined to believe, but I'm sorry. The terms of the will are very clear. Without proof that Julia and Alex were sabotaging you, I'm afraid that Natalia's money will go to them.
Peter, could you give me your phone for a second, please?
Maya, now is not the time for you to be checking your texts.
It's not that. Dad.
Thank you.
See, Mr. Melnick, last time said he needed to prove that Julia and Alex tried to sabotage us. They had Peter X handcuff us to a pipe.
What?
So this time, I made sure that I have some proof.
You'll never make it back to the mansion in time. The money's ours.
Well, that clears it up. You are a very bright young lady, Maya.
I keep telling her that. Why didn't you tell me that you had a video last night?
Well, we had more important things to do.
According to the will, all of your mother's money will now be split between you and Peter.
No! No! This can't be happening. That money belongs to me, not this stupid spoiled.
And don't you talk to me like that again. Not that you'll be able to from the prison.
You're under arrest for kidnapping and assault.
No. You don't understand. The kidnapping was all my wife's.
Shut up, you idiot!
Well, Maya, it seems I might have misjudged you. That was quite impressive.
You don't know anything.
I need some time, Dad.
Fair enough. I never would have put you two together, but then again, what do I know?
Your mother.
Yeah.
Your mother instructed me to give you this letter upon the completion of the will's terms. Best of luck to you both.
That's my mother's handwriting. Could you read it out loud for me?
Yeah, sure. Dear Maya, I'm sure you're wondering why I put this silly little term in my will that forces you to live with Peter for a week. The truth is, I always thought you two were perfect for each other, and it broke my heart that you never saw it. I'm hoping that by now you have. I will always love you, Maya, and I know you have a brilliant future ahead of you. Love, Mom. Whoa, I guess she got us.
I was right. She did see me. Well, that is some next level matchmaking.
Maya, I wish we had this sooner. I love you.
I love you too.